Introduction. You live in a simulation, your own. You look at your computer or mobile phone screen. You click on an application and it opens. You type a message and it sends. You press a button and music plays. The machine obeys. It is precise. It is fast. It is predictable. If the computer doesn't do what you want, you know it's not because it's having a bad day or because the universe is against it. You know there's a logical error, a disconnected cable, a low battery, or most likely, a software bug. Now look at your life. You look at your bank account and don't see the number you want. You look at your relationships and see repetitive patterns of pain that you swore never to commit again. You look at your body and it doesn't respond as you wish. You try to execute the command, achieve success, but the system returns an error message. Access denied. You try to execute the command, be calm, but the system freezes and enters an infinite loop of anxiety. You get frustrated. You scream. You blame luck, the government, your ex, or the economy. But the truth is much colder and much more hopeful. Your life isn't working because you are operating with a corrupt operating system. Welcome to the source code. The premise of this audiobook is radical. You don't live in reality. You live in a simulation projected by your own mind. Everything you see out there, your job, your house, your friends, is just the monitor. It is the screen showing the results of the programs running in the background, within your subconscious hard drive. The great error of humanity, the reason why most people live lives of quiet desperation, is that they try to change their life by manipulating the screen. They try to change their image by painting over the mirror. They change partners, but the new partner has the same problems as the last one. They change jobs, but the new boss is just as tyrannical. They earn more money, but expenses increase, and they still feel poor. Why? Because the source code hasn't changed. If your internal software has a line of code that says, if opportunity, then execute self-sabotage, it doesn't matter how hard you try physically. The program will execute. Reality will obey the code, not your desires. You were not born with this faulty code. When you came into the world, your hardware, your brain was perfect. Your operating system was clean, but during the first 7 years of your life, your brain operated in theta waves, a programmable hypnotic state. During those years, you had no firewall. You had no antivirus. Your parents, your teachers, television, and culture installed thousands of lines of code without your permission. They installed malware. Money is bad. You are not enough. You look better when quiet. Life is struggle. These programs were Trojan viruses. They entered disguised as education, but their function was to limit you. And today, 20, 30, or 40 years later, those old scripts are still running in the background, consuming 90% of your RAM, slowing your processor, and overheating your system. You think you are free. You think you decide. But neuroscience tells us that 95% of your decisions are subconscious. That is, they are automatic. They are scripts executed by the machine. You are a user who has forgotten the administrator password to your own system. But I have good news. The code can be rewritten. The mind is not a fixed thing. It is software, and software is updated. This audiobook is not a motivational talk. I am not going to ask you to think positive while your system is full of viruses. That would be like putting a smiley face sticker on a computer that is burning up. This is a technical reprogramming manual. In the next chapters, we are going to open the command console of your psyche. We will stop being passive users, victims, and become active programmers, reality hackers. You will learn how to perform a system diagnosis. You will discover that your anxiety is not a flaw in your personality, but a system error notification, glitch, warning you of a conflict in the code. You will learn to locate the Trojan viruses that were installed in your childhood and put them in quarantine. You will learn the exact syntax, the programming language, that the universe understands. You will see why the universe ignores your pleas, please, I want money, but blindly obeys your decrees of identity, I am. And finally, you will learn to compile and execute the new version of yourself. I warn you, hacking your own mind requires courage. You will have to look at lines of code that have been hidden for years. You will have to delete files you are fond of, old excuses, old victim identities. The system will try to defend itself. Your biological firewall, resistance to change, will try to block you to maintain stability, even if it is miserable stability. But if you follow the steps, if you learn to type the correct commands, the screen of your life will start flashing and changing before your eyes. Reality is plastic. Reality is a hologram. And you have the keyboard. It is time to restart the system. It is time to access the root. It is time to rewrite your destiny. Chapter 1. The blue screen, the system error. Imagine for a moment you are working on a vital project on your computer. You have 10 tabs open in the browser. You are rendering a high-definition video, listening to music in the background, and downloading heavy files. The machine is operating at maximum capacity. The fans whir softly. Everything seems to be going well, and suddenly, without warning, disaster strikes. The music freezes into an unbearable electric buzz. Brrr! The mouse cursor remains petrified on the screen. You try to press Ctrl plus Alt plus Del, but the machine does not respond, and a microsecond later, the screen turns a bright electric blue, and cryptic, terrifying white letters appear. Fatal error. The system has stopped to protect itself. Error code 0x0. It is the infamous blue screen of death, BSOD. In that instant, your human reaction is visceral. You feel a wave of heat. You hit the table. You scream, "Damn machine! You always do this to me. I hate technology. I have such bad luck." You feel like a victim. You feel that the computer has a personal vendetta against you. You feel that the digital universe is conspiring to keep you from finishing your work. But if a senior systems engineer were to walk into the room at that moment, their reaction would be radically different. They would not feel anger. They would not feel victimhood. They would not hit the monitor. They would adjust their glasses, approach the screen and, with surgical coldness, read the line of text that you ignored because you were too busy complaining. Driver Arkle not less or equal. The engineer would smile and say, "Relax, the machine doesn't hate you, the computer is not broken. The hardware is innocent." What has happened is that two programs tried to write information to the same RAM memory address at the same time, creating a logical conflict. The operating system, to prevent burning out the processor, decided to stop. It is a defense mechanism, not an attack. Welcome to the diagnosis of your life. You are that computer. Your anxiety, your recurring depression, your inability to keep money in the account, your chronic toxic relationships, all that you call bad luck or cruel fate, are not divine punishments. It is not karma. They are blue screens. They are runtime errors. The great problem of humanity, the root of almost all modern psychological suffering, is that we confuse the hardware with the software. You think you are the error. You believe that your hardware, your brain, your soul, your essence, is defective. You tell yourself, "I am stupid. I am weak. I was born broken. I am useless at this." Let me be the engineer who walks into the room and tells you the truth. Your hardware is perfect. Your brain is the most advanced computing machine in the known universe. It has 86 billion neurons capable of processing information at speeds that would make a quantum supercomputer weep. Your nervous system is a biological fiber optic network of millimeter precision. Your heart is a hydraulic pump that does not fail for decades. The machine works. The machine is innocent. If your life doesn't work, it is never a hardware problem. It is always, always, always a software problem. You are running corrupt code. You have malicious scripts running in the background. You have driver conflicts between what you consciously desire, program A, and what you subconsciously believe, program B. When you feel that knot in your stomach before a presentation, it is not that you are cowardly. It is that your system has detected a conflict. Program A, conscious. I want to shine and be successful. Program B, subconscious, virus. If I stand out, I will be judged and expelled from the tribe. Danger of death. The system tries to execute both commands at once. It cannot. It panics. It overheats. And it throws the blue screen, anxiety attack. Anxiety is not the disease. Anxiety is the computer's fan spinning at maximum, trying to cool the processor, Because an infinite loop process is consuming 100% of the CPU. If you treat anxiety with pills or distractions without correcting the code, it's like putting ice on the computer but leaving the corrupt program open. It will heat up again as soon as the ice melts. In this first part of the book, I need you to make a fundamental identity shift. Stop being the user. The user is passive. The user does not understand how the machine works. They only use it. When the machine fails, the user cries, prays, or calls technical support. The user is a victim of the black box. I want you to become the hacker, or if you prefer, the system administrator, sysadmin. The hacker is not afraid of the error. They are curious about it. When the program fails, the hacker does not say, "I am a failure." The hacker says, "Interesting, there is a bug here. Let's open the console and see what line of code caused the collapse." Your emotional pain is information. It is an error log. It is your system screaming at you. "Here, on this line, there is a lie executing. Correct it." The anatomy of the glitch types of mental errors. To fix the code, we first have to understand what type of error we are facing. In programming, not all failures are the same. In your mind, they aren't either. We are going to classify your vital problems into 3 technical categories. 1. Compilation errors. Syntax errors. I can't even start. This happens when you try to write a new program, a goal, and it won't even boot up. You say, "I'm going to the gym," and you don't go. You say, "I'm going to launch my business," and you don't even write one page of the plan. You feel paralyzed. You procrastinate. The user says, "I am lazy." The hacker says, "Syntax error." The code you are trying to enter is not written in the language your brain understands. You are writing, "I should go to the gym." But your operating system does not understand the command should. Your operating system works with the command pleasure or pain. If the code does not link the action to pleasure or the avoidance of immediate pain, the compiler rejects the order. It is not laziness. It is that you are writing in Chinese and your brain speaks binary. 2. Runtime errors, execution errors. Everything was fine until... This is the most painful error. The program boots up. You start the diet. You start the relationship. Everything seems to be going well. But when the system is put under load, stress, it collapses. You have been eating healthy for 2 weeks. You have a bad day at work, peak load on the CPU, and suddenly you find yourself eating 3 pizzas. You were happy with your partner. A small argument arises, peak load, and suddenly you become jealous, possessive, and destroy the relationship. The user says, "I have bad luck," or "I self-sabotage." The hacker says, "Memory management failure." You have a hidden script that only activates under pressure. It is a conditional code. If, stress 80%. Then, execute protocol flight towards food. As long as the stress is at 20%, the virus is asleep. You think you are cured, but the code is still there, waiting for the trigger. 3. Infinite loops, infinite loops. The same thing always happens to me. You find yourself repeating the same story over and over. You change partners, but after 6 months, you have the same problems as with the previous one. You change jobs, but after 3 months you have the same conflicts with the new boss. You earn money, but an unforeseen expense arises, and you are back to 0. The user says, "It's my destiny." The hacker says, "Unexitable while loop." Your code says, "While life tasks true do, repeat poverty pattern." You have not entered a break variable. The computer simply follows instructions. If the instruction is, "Spend everything that exceeds 1,000 euros, the computer will look for creative ways to break your car or your washing machine to fulfill the instruction to lower your balance. Part 3. The debugging console, the 5 whys protocol. We already know the problem is the code. How do we read it? You cannot open your brain and see lines of text matrix style. The mental code is invisible until you learn to use the debugging console. The most powerful tool for reading your own source code is a technique borrowed from industrial engineering, Toyota, and software development, the 5 recursive whys, the 5 whys. Most people stop at the surface of the error. They say, "I am angry because my child doesn't listen to me." They believe the child is the cause. False. The child is the input, the data entry. The anger is the output, the exit. The code is what happens in between. To see the code, you have to ask why 5 times, drilling down into the subconscious until you hit metal. Let's run a real-time debugging simulation. Situation, the crash. You have a disproportionate outburst of anger because your partner arrived 15 minutes late for dinner. Level 1, user interface. Why are you so angry? Users answer, because it's disrespectful to be late. It makes me waste time. This is what you tell yourself, but it's a lie. If an Amazon delivery person is late, you don't get that angry. There is something more. Level 2, application layer. Why does that disrespect hurt you so much? Answer, because it shows that I don't matter to them. If I mattered, they would be on time. We're getting closer. It's no longer about time, it's about affection. Level 3, system layer. And what does it mean to you that you don't matter? Answer, it means I'm going to be left alone. I feel like I'm going to be abandoned. Level 4, kernel layer. And what happens if you are not a priority? What do you feel? Answer, I feel like I'm going to be left alone. I feel like I'm going to be abandoned. Level 5, the source code. Why are you so terrified of being abandoned over being 15 minutes late? Answer, the bug. Because deep down, I believe I am not worthy of love and that I have to earn attention. If I don't get it, I have failed, and I am going to die alone. Error found. VAR identity, DIS. External attention, DIS to 100%. If attention. Your partner could have arrived on time, and you would have found another excuse to feel insecure, because the fear of abandonment code was running in the background seeking confirmation. The delay was just the excuse the malware used to surface. If you try to fix this at level 1, arguing with your partner about clocks and punctuality, you will never fix anything. They might be punctual for the next 10 years, and you will still feel bad. The bug is at level 5, your belief that your worth depends on external attention. Until you rewrite that line of code, my worth is intrinsic and independent of the attention of others, you will continue to have blue screens in all your relationships. Part 4, the false solutions. Why restarting is not enough. Before teaching you how to rewrite the code, which we will do in the next chapters, I need to warn you about the traps that 99% of users fall into. They are the patch solutions that society sells you and that only worsen the problem. 1. The task manager trap, suppressing the symptom. When a program freezes, you open the task manager and force it to close. In real life, this is what you do when you drink alcohol, smoke marijuana, or overeat to turn off anxiety. You force the process to close. You feel immediate relief. The blue screen disappears, but you have not uninstalled the corrupt program. The next time you boot up the system, wake up tomorrow, the program will start automatically at startup, and since you closed it abruptly, perhaps the file is even more damaged now. 2. The screensaver trap, toxic positivity. This is putting a pretty picture of a tropical beach on top of the blue screen of death. You repeat positive affirmations. Everything is fine. I am happy. I am abundance. But underneath, the processor is burning up. Positivism without debugging is a lie. It is malware disguised as wallpaper. You cannot fix a code error by smiling at the monitor. You have to open the terminal and get your hands dirty. 3. The hardware change trap, geographical flight. I hate this computer, my life, and I'm going to buy another one. You move cities, you change jobs, you get divorced. You believe the problem was the environment, the external hardware. But you take the hard drive with you. You take the software with you. After 6 months in the wonderful new city, with the perfect new job, you find yourself feeling exactly the same anxiety and loneliness as in the previous city. Because the bug was not in the city. It was in the user's operating system. As they say in the tech world, PEPCAS, problem exists between keyboard and chair. The problem exists between the keyboard and the chair. The problem is you, your code. Conclusion of the diagnosis. You have reached the end of the first step. You are no longer an innocent user. Now you know too much. You know that your pain is not the enemy. It is the messenger. You know that your anxiety is not a disease. It is an overload notification from the CPU. You know that restarting by sleeping does not fix the problem. The question floating in your head is, okay, I understand I have corrupt code. I understand I have a bug at level 5. But who the hell wrote that code? I was not born thinking I didn't deserve love. I was not born with fear of money. You are right, you did not write the original code. Your hard drive came clean from the factory. But someone had access to your terminal when you were too small to have a password. Someone inserted an infected USB into your input port when you were 3, 5, 7 years old. Those original hackers, parents, teachers, society, installed programs that at the time seemed useful, but that today are Trojan viruses that are hijacking your resources. Chapter 2. Childhood Malware, the Trojan viruses. You have completed the diagnosis. You know you have a system error. You know that your anxiety or poverty is not a coincidence, but the result of corrupt code, if, then, running in a loop. But this leads us to the most unsettling question of all. Who wrote that code? If you weren't born hating yourself, and if you consciously want to be happy, how is it possible that your hard drive is full of scripts that order you to suffer? To understand this, we have to travel back in time. We have to go back to the moment your computer was taken out of the box. Imagine a new computer, fresh from the factory. The hardware is impeccable. The screen has no scratches. The processor is cool and fast. The operating system is clean install. There are no junk files, no browsing history, no viruses. That was you at birth. A baby has no doubts about their worth. A baby cries when hungry and laughs when happy. They don't think, am I worthy of this milk? Or, I hope I'm not bothering anyone by crying. The baby operates in God mode. It is pure potentiality. But this new computer has a critical design vulnerability. It comes without a firewall. During the first 7 years of life, the human brain has no critical capacity. It has no filter. In terms of brain waves, a child from 0 to 7 years old lives predominantly in theta waves. The theta state is the state of deep hypnosis. It is the state where the subconscious is completely open to writing. Nature designed it this way for a survival reason. A human has to learn millions of complex things, walking, talking, social norms, in record time. To learn fast, the brain becomes a sponge that absorbs everything it sees and hears as absolute truth. If you tell a 4-year-old Santa Claus exists, the child doesn't doubt it. Their brain downloads the file santaclaus.exe and installs it in the System32 folder, Fundamental Truths. If you tell that same child, you are a nuisance, you always bother people, the child doesn't doubt that either. They don't have the capacity to analyze, well, Mom is tired today and is projecting her frustration onto me. No. The child downloads the file I am a molestia.exe and installs it as an identity driver. During those 7 years, you were a machine with open doors. And through those doors entered the original hackers. Your parents, your grandparents, your teachers, television, the church. They were not malicious hackers, most of them. They didn't want to destroy you. In fact, they believed they were installing protection software, education, but they themselves were infected. Their own operating systems were full of viruses they inherited from their parents, who in turn inherited them from theirs. It is a transgenerational viral transmission. When your father told you money is hard to earn, we are not Rockefellers, he thought he was installing a financial prudence application. But in reality, he was passing you a worm called Scarcity v1.0. That worm copied itself onto your hard drive. And today, 30 years later, when you try to charge a high price for your work, the worm activates, blocks the operation, and makes you feel guilty. When your mother told you, look how well your brother behaves, learn from him, she thought she was installing a continuous improvement application, but she installed a Trojan called compulsivecomparison.exe. That Trojan opened a backdoor in your self-esteem. Now every time you go on Instagram and see someone more successful than you, the Trojan drains your energy and makes you feel small. In this first part, I want you to realize the magnitude of the infection. It is not you. What you call your personality is, by 90%, a collection of pirated scripts installed by third parties before you were old enough to have the administrator password. You think you are shy. False. You have social danger malware installed. You think you are disorganized. False. You have a rebellion against authority script. The good news is that software is not hardware. You are not the virus. You are the machine that hosts the virus. And any software that has been installed can be uninstalled. But to uninstall it, you first have to find it. And these viruses are very clever. They disguise themselves as system files. They disguise themselves as your inner voice. They tell you, I am you. I am your common sense. Lie. In the second part, we are going to perform a deep antivirus scan. We will identify the 3 most dangerous malware families that infect humanity. I will teach you how to read their source code so that the next time you hear that voice in your head, you can say, "That's not me. That's my father's script running in 2024. The quarantine identifying the 3 major infections. To clean the system, we cannot fight against unease in general. We have to be precise like code surgeons. Although there are millions of variants of mental viruses, almost all of them come from 3 mother codes or malware architectures. If you have one of these, and you almost certainly have all 3 in different degrees, your operating system will never function at full capacity. Malware Type 1, the insufficiency virus, not enough. Trojan. Source code VAR value, SAS, performance plus approval. Error message, I'm not worthy if I don't do. This is the most widespread virus in the West. It entered your system when you learned that love was conditional. When you were a baby, you were loved for being. But soon, the conditions started. If you get good grades, I'll buy you the bike. If you behave well, I'll love you. If you don't cry, you're a big boy. Your child brain wrote a fatal line of code. If, achievement, null, then, love, 0. This virus runs in the background 24 hours a day. It turns you into a workaholic, a neurotic perfectionist, or a people pleaser. It makes you believe that your being is empty and that you have to fill it with doing. Symptoms: anxiety when you are not producing, inability to rest, guilt, terror of criticism, compulsive need for likes or external validation. Why it's a Trojan? Because it enters disguised as ambition or excellence. It makes you believe it helps you improve, but in reality, it is enslaving you. It's never enough. If you earn $1 million, the virus recalculates the variable and tells you, now you need 2 or you're worthless. Malware Type 2, the scarcity worm, scarcityworm.vbs. Source code const world, dangerous and limited. Error message, there isn't enough for everyone, be careful. This virus usually comes from the paternal line or the socio-economic environment. It is transmitted through repetitive phrases, viral mantras. Money doesn't grow on trees. Life is hard, a struggle. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Risk panic virus. Rich people are bad greedy. Firewall against wealth. This script infects your graphics card. It literally alters how you see the world. Where another sees an opportunity, you see a scam. Where another sees abundance, you see competition. The scarcity worm keeps you in survival mode. It blocks the input ports for resources. If you receive extra money, the virus generates an unforeseen expense to return you to your thermostat level, known poverty. Symptoms: fear of spending, even on yourself. Envy of others' success. Staying in jobs you hate for security. Always thinking about the worst that could happen. Malware Typo 3, the silence protocol, suppress.exe. Source code if, emotion, chamaras intense. Then execute block dissociation. Error message, don't feel, it's dangerous. This is the virus that destroys intimacy and physical health. It was installed in moments where expressing your emotion was punished or ignored. Boys don't cry. Don't get angry, you look ugly. Stop being dramatic. Your system learned that high emotion, anger, sadness, and even overwhelming joy, threatened your bond with caregivers. So it installed a power limiter. Every time an emotion goes above 40%, the suppress.exe protocol jumps in and cuts the connection. You dissociate, you become rational, or you self-medicate with food phone. Symptoms: not knowing what you want, feeling flat or empty, difficulty connecting deeply with partners, psychosomatic illnesses, repressed energy turns into a physical symptom. Intellectualizing everything, I think that I feel instead of feeling. The forensic analysis IP tracking exercise. Now that you know the suspects, let's catch them. You cannot delete a virus if you don't know where the exe file is. We need to perform an IP trace to see who uploaded that file to your server. Exercise the voice audit. Take a sheet of paper, divide it into 3 columns. The limiting phrase, the code. The origin, the hacker. The current truth, the patch. Sit in silence and let your most common fears about money, love, and worth arise. Example 1. So code. If I try to start a business, I will fail and they will laugh at me. Oh, origin, close your eyes. Hear that phrase in your head. Whose voice is it? Is it yours? No, it sounds like my Uncle Juan, who always mocked dreamers. Or it sounds like my math teacher who humiliated me at the board. Oh, truth. That is the opinion of a bitter man from 1995. It is not a physical law. I have resources that he did not have. Example 2. Though code. I can't trust men ni women. They always betray you. Though origin. Who said that? Ah, it's my mother's voice crying in the kitchen when Dad didn't come home. It is her pain, not my future. Go truth. My mother chose a specific man. I am not her. Loyal people exist, and I have the discernment to choose them. This exercise is brutally liberating. It is called disidentification. By putting a name and face to the virus, this is not me, this is Mom's Fear v2.0, you break the fusion. You realize that you have been living your parents' lives or protecting yourself from the ghosts of your teachers. The code loses its read-only permissions and becomes editable. The trap of invisible loyalty. I warn you, the system will resist deleting these files. Why? Because of love. For a child, being the same as their parents is a form of loyalty and belonging. The subconscious thinks, if I delete Dad's scarcity virus and become rich, I will cease to be his child. I will be left alone. I will betray the clan. This is the biological firewall. It is the resistance you feel when you try to change and you feel guilt. Guilt is not moral. It is a defense mechanism of the virus to avoid being deleted. It tells you, who do you think you are to be happier than your mother? To hack this, you need root permissions, superuser. You need to convince your system that updating the software does not mean abandoning the family, but honoring it by evolving. You need to explain to your BIOS that your parents' software ran on Windows 95, and it was useful for their time and circumstances, but you are running on quantum hardware in 2024, and those old drivers are no longer compatible with your graphics card. The virus is not bad. The virus is obsolete. Your father taught you to be afraid of money because he lived through a crisis. His fear protected him. It was useful. But in you, that fear is a burden. Thank the virus for its intention. Thank you for trying to protect me. And then press Shift plus Delete. You have identified the malware. You have traced the original hackers. You have understood that your personality is largely an inherited and unupdated operating system. Now you are ready for the next phase. You will try to delete the virus, and you will discover that it is not as easy as pressing a button. The system will throw alerts at you. Are you sure this file is necessary for the system? Access denied requires administrator permissions. You will encounter pure, hard resistance, laziness, doubt, violent self-sabotage. Chapter 3, The Firewall Resistance to Change. You have done incredible work so far. You have completed the system diagnosis, Chapter 1, and traced the Trojan viruses back to their childhood origin, Chapter 2.1. Filled with new and vibrant clarity, you make an executive decision. I'm done. I will uninstall the poverty program. I will delete the insecurity file. Tomorrow at 07:00 a.m., I'm installing the Success v2.0 version. You go to sleep with the motivation of a god. You visualize your new life. You feel that finally you are in control. But the next morning, something strange happens, something biological. The alarm rings, and instead of jumping out of bed, like the warrior you visualized last night, you feel a gravity of lead crushing you against the mattress. Your brain, which was a precision laser last night, is full of a dense, sticky fog today. You start hearing a voice, your own voice, but it sounds different. It is a seductive, rational, and lethally persuasive voice. Well, there's no rush. Monday is a better day to start. Besides, my throat hurts a little today. I don't want to force the system. Better rest today to attack hard tomorrow. If you manage to overcome that voice and go out determined to succeed, reality seems to conspire against you. Mysteriously, you twist your ankle, or you lose your car keys, or your partner starts an absurd argument just before your big meeting, draining your emotional battery. The inexperienced user interprets this as signs from the universe, and they say, wow, bad luck. It must not be my path. Or they fall into self-deprecation. I am lazy, I have no willpower, I am a fraud. The hacker knows the truth. It's not bad luck. It's not laziness. And it is definitely not the universe telling you to give up. It is the firewall. Your operating system has detected an attempt to modify the kernel code and has closed the security floodgates. You have triggered the intrusion alarm of your own biology. In biology and cybernetics, this mechanism is called homeostasis. Homeostasis is the primary directive of any living system. Maintain stable internal conditions, no matter what happens outside. Your body has a biological thermostat set to 36.5 Celsius. If you go out into the polar cold, your body doesn't say, "Oh, let's adapt to the cold." No, your body fights violently against the change. It shivers, constricts blood vessels, burns reserves. It does whatever is necessary to return to 36.5 Celsius. Your mind works exactly the same way. You have psychological thermostats configured decades ago. You have a financial thermostat, e.g., survive with just enough. You have a happiness thermostat, e.g., content but with underlying complaint. You have a love thermostat, e.g., intense but painful relationships. Let's say your financial thermostat is set to survival. If you try to install a program to earn double, your biological firewall detects it as a critical deviation. It detects it as a fever. For your primitive brain, the amygdala and brainstem, any drastic change, even if it is a positive change like winning the lottery or finding the love of your life, is registered as a threat. The basic code of evolution is simple. The known detectum safe. I have survived until today doing this. The unknown detectum danger. There could be predators. Therefore, change. Potential death. That's why, when you start to succeed, your subconscious doesn't celebrate it. It panics. It activates the emergency fans. It initiates the self-sabotage protocol. Self-sabotage is not that you hate yourself. It is the cooling system trying to return you to your base temperature. If you earn too much money too quickly, the firewall will make you make a stupid decision to spend or lose it, returning you to your comfort zone, scarcity. If you receive too much love suddenly, and your thermostat is set to abandonment, the firewall will make you feel suspicion, irritation, or boredom, so you push the person away and return to your safe zone, loneliness. This phenomenon is what psychologist Gay Hendricks called the upper limit problem. You have an invisible glass ceiling. Every time you touch that ceiling with your head, the system's security alarms go off. The firewall says, "Alert! We are being too happy. This is not normal. Something bad is going to happen. Execute correction protocol." The attack vectors. How the system sabotages you. The firewall is an incredibly sophisticated piece of software. It doesn't stop you with a simple error message like access denied. That would be too easy to ignore. The firewall stops you by manipulating your internal and external reality. It uses three main attack vectors to force you to abort the update. Vector 1. Logical rationalization, lawyer mode.x. The firewall hijacks your prefrontal cortex, your intelligent part, and uses it against you. It doesn't say, "I'm scared." It gives you logical, legal, and perfectly reasonable arguments not to act. It's not the right economic moment to start a business. I should train a little more before launching the project. That person is too good. They must be hiding something. These are logical lies. They are high-definition excuses generated by the system to justify inaction. The smarter you are, the better the excuses your firewall invents. Vector 2. The psychosomatic attack, system failure.dll. If you ignore the logic and keep going, The firewall attacks the hardware. You get sick. Right on the day you are going to start the gym, you get a lumbago. Just the week you are going to launch your website, you get a migraine that leaves you blind. It's not a coincidence. It is the sympathetic nervous system diverting resources to create a physical crisis that forces you to stop. The body screams, if you won't stop the easy way, you will stop the hard way. Vector 3. The extinction burst, the extinction burst. This is the firewall's cruelest trick. When you try to delete a habit, like smoking, complaining, or eating sugar, the habit doesn't disappear gradually. Right before it disappears, it becomes much stronger. It is the virus's swan song. The first day of the diet, you don't have normal hunger. You have a voracious, demonic hunger. The day you decide to be patient with your children, they behave worse than ever, and you feel a volcanic rage. This is called an extinction burst. The brain, seeing that it is not receiving its usual dose of dopamine from tobacco or drama, enters withdrawal syndrome and launches a massive craving attack to force you to relapse. Most people give up here. They think, it's too hard, I can't. They don't know that the extinction burst is the signal that the virus is dying. If you withstand this fever peak, victory is on the other side. Intrusion protocols hacking biological security. Now you understand what you are facing. It is not a weakness of character. It is a biological defense millions of years old. If you try to break through the firewall with brute force, willpower, you will lose. Willpower is a small battery that runs out at 4 p.m. The subconscious is a nuclear power plant that works 24/7. To win, we cannot attack head-on. We have to be hackers. We have to trick the security system to sneak the new files in without setting off the alarms. Here are the 3 intrusion protocols to bypass your own firewall. Protocol 1. The Trojan horse microdosing hard Kaizen. The firewall works with motion sensors. It detects the magnitude of change. If the change is large, the alarm sounds. But if the change is microscopic, it passes under the radar. If your goal is to write a book, the firewall shouts danger, massive effort, possible public ridicule, and it blocks you with procrastination. The solution is to reduce the threat until it is invisible. Use the Kaizen philosophy. Small continuous improvement. Don't say, I'm going to write a chapter. Say, I'm going to open the Word document. The firewall analyzes the command open word, verdict, null threat, 0 energy cost, allows passage. Once open, you say, I'm going to write one awful sentence. The firewall says, go ahead, it doesn't matter. Once the sentence is written, inertia leads you to write another. You have slipped in the Trojan, you are already inside the system. This technique tricks the amygdala. By not activating the fight or flight response, you maintain access to your prefrontal cortex, your intelligence. You trick homeostasis by moving the thermostat 0.1 degrees every day. In a month, you have changed the temperature 3 degrees without the body shivering. Protocol 2. The forced reboot, pattern interrupt. Sometimes the firewall traps you in an execution loop, rumination loop. It's 3 a.m. You are in bed. You can't sleep. Your mind repeats over and over a worry about money or an embarrassing conversation from 2008. The firewall has blocked the sleep process and hijacked the RAM with the fear process. Here, subtlety doesn't work. You need brute force. You need to crash the system to force a reboot, hard reset. The human brain cannot simultaneously execute 2 intense and opposing neurochemical patterns. If you are in an anxiety loop and suddenly step under an ice-cold shower, the thermal shock is so violent that the brain has to abort the anxiety process to allocate all resources to the survival from cold process. You have broken the loop. The blue screen disappears. You have created a window of opportunity of about 5 to 10 minutes where the system is rebooting and is vulnerable to new commands. Pattern interruption techniques. Physiological, cold water, biting a lemon, 10 burpees at maximum speed. Auditory, playing heavy metal music very loudly, or anything opposite to your mood. Linguistic, shouting an absurd word, banana, in the middle of your negative internal speech. Absurdity short-circuits the logic of fear. The firewall gets confused. What is going on? Why are we shouting banana? This is not in the threat log. In that confusion, you take the administrator command and redirect attention. Protocol 3. privilege escalation, identity spoofing. This is the most sophisticated hack. In a computer system, a guest user has restrictions. They cannot install programs. An administrator, root, can do whatever they want. The firewall blocks behaviors that do not match your registered identity. If your identity file says ID Panku smoker and you try to quit smoking, the firewall says access denied, identity violation. You are a smoker. Here is a craving for a smoke. To avoid the block, you have to log in with a new account. You have to perform identity spoofing. Do not try to change what you do, behavior. Change who you are, identity. The method is popularly called fake it till you make it, but at the code level it is deeper. Act as if the variable is already true. If you want to be rich, do not wait to have money in the account to feel abundant. The firewall will block the money because your identity is poor. You have to hack the variable. Set identity. Rich. Start operating the system as if you were already rich. How does a millionaire walk? They don't walk with hurry and fear. How do they take care of their shoes? How do they treat waiters? What do they choose at the supermarket? Maybe you can't buy caviar, but you can stop buying the cheapest brand of toilet paper and buy the one you like. That micro-act tells the system, our status has changed. At first, the firewall will throw imposter alerts. You will feel ridiculous. Tell the system, I am not an imposter. I have updated my credentials. I am root now. When you maintain this spoofing long enough, usually 2166 days, the system rewrites the identity file. And the magic is that once the system believes you are rich or athletic, the firewall starts working in your favor. It starts blocking poverty or laziness because now they are the threats to your new identity. Homeostasis becomes your ally. It fights to keep you rich. The sandbox training in a safe zone. Before launching the new code into production, real life with real risks, hackers use a sandbox, an isolated testing environment. Your sandbox is vivid visualization. The brain has a wonderful design flaw that we are going to exploit. It does not distinguish between a real experience and one lived intensely in the imagination. In both cases, the same neural networks are activated. If you vividly imagine biting a lemon, you salivate. The lemon doesn't exist, but the physical reaction is real. Use the sandbox to acclimate your firewall. Every night, visualize your success. But don't visualize it as a distant movie. Visualize it in first person. Feel the touch of the steering wheel of your new car. Smell the perfume of your ideal partner. Feel the gratitude in your chest. By doing this, you are exposing your thermostat to the new temperature in a safe environment. You are familiarizing the firewall with the vibration of success. You are telling it, look, having money is not dangerous. Look how good we feel. There are no lions, no one is attacking us. The more time you spend in the sandbox, the fewer alarms will go off when it happens in 3D reality. When you finally receive that pay raise, your firewall will say, ah yes, I know this. We have already lived it 1,000 times in the night simulation. It is a safe process. Allow access. Conclusion of the chapter. You have learned the most important lesson of reprogramming. Resistance is a sign that you are close. If the firewall is firing all its weapons, fear, doubt, laziness, illness, it is not a sign that you should stop. It is a sign that you are touching the kernel code. No one puts armed guards to protect an empty warehouse. If there are guards, it is because the treasure is there. You have learned to bypass security with subtlety, Kaizen, with force, interruption, and with cunning, identity. Now that we have right access to the system, what are we going to write? You cannot write code in Spanish. The universe does not understand, I hope I am happy. The universe is a quantum machine that works with a very specific syntax. You need to learn binary code. You need to learn to speak in zeros and ones, absolute certainty or absolute absence. Chapter 4, Binary Code, Zeros and Ones. You have hacked the firewall. You have neutralized the Trojans from your childhood. You have the command terminal open in front of you, with the cursor blinking, waiting for instructions. You have administrator privileges. You are ready to ask reality for what you want. And then you write in the console, Please, universe, I would like to have more money if possible because I am tired of suffering and I will try to make an effort. You press enter, and the screen returns syntax error. You try again. I want to find true love. Syntax error. You try harder. I desire to be happy. Null result. You get frustrated. You think the system is broken, but the system is working perfectly. The problem is that you are speaking to it in a high-level language, human language, full of nuances, doubts, and desires, to a machine that operates in machine language, binary. The computer you are reading this on at its deepest level does not understand letters, colors, or videos. It only understands two electrical states: 1, on, current, presence; 0, off, no current, absence. Everything you see on the screen, this sentence, your favorite video game. Your mother's photo is just a massive and highly complex combination of zeros and ones. Quantum reality works the same way. The quantum field, the server running the simulation of your life, does not understand your letters to Santa Claus. It does not understand the word desire. It does not understand maybe. The field only understands states of definition. It only understands if your internal switch is set to 1, absolute certainty, or 0, absolute absence. The great syntax error committed by 99% of humanity is attempting to communicate with reality using the value 0.5. 0.5 is doubt. It is the I will try. It is the I hope it works. It is the I wish. In computing, a bit cannot be 0.5. If a transistor tries to be half on and half off, electrical noise occurs. The system doesn't know what to do, execute or not execute. And when in doubt, the system defaults to not executing anything. It remains in standby. Your life is in standby because you have been emitting signals of 0.5 for years. You say, I want to start a business, signal 1. But you feel fear and think, what if I fail? Signal 0. The average is 0.5. The universe receives the 0.5 signal and says, invalid instruction, maintain current reality. In this first part, we are going to learn binary syntax. To write code that turns into matter, you have to eliminate the decimals. You have to learn to polarize. It is either yes or it is no. Maybe is the cancer of the code, the collapse of the wave, the physics of decision. To understand why binary is so powerful, we have to go down to the basement of reality, quantum physics. You have surely heard of the famous Schrödinger's cat. You put a cat in a box with a poison that has a 50% probability of activating. While the box is closed, according to quantum physics, the cat is neither alive nor dead. It is in a superposition of states. It is a probability wave where both realities, alive and dead, coexist at once. The cat is a 0.5. What makes the cat live or die? The observer. The moment you open the box and look, you force the wave to collapse. Nature cannot show you a half-alive cat. It has to choose. Your observation forces the universe to make a binary decision: 1, alive, or 0, dead. You are the observer of your own life, but you have a problem. You are afraid to open the box. You spend your life maintaining your dreams in superposition. I want to be a writer, but I don't write the book because what if it's bad? As long as you don't write it, you are a potential writer. You are the cat in the box. You have the illusion that you could be a genius or a failure, and that ambiguity is comfortable for you. Making a decision, writing the book and publishing it, is opening the box. It is collapsing the wave. It is risking that it might be a 0, no one reads it, to have the possibility that it might be a 1, bestseller. Poor people, in money and spirit, love superposition. They love someday. They love unrealized potential because it is safe. The hacker knows that reality only exists in the collapse. To manifest something, you have to assassinate all other possibilities. The word decision comes from the Latin decidere, which means to cut. Deciding is killing alternatives. When you decide, I am going to be rich, state 1, you have to kill the possibility of being comfortable in poverty. When you decide, I am marrying this person, state 1, you kill the possibility of being with any other. If you don't kill the alternatives, you haven't decided. You are still at 0.5. And if you are still at 0.5, the universe gives you nothing because you haven't given it a solid container to pour the energy into. The command try is a virus. In programming, there is a structure called try-catch. It is used to test code that might fail. In your mind, the word try is a pre-programmed failure command. As Yoda, the great programmer of the galaxy, said, "Do or do not. There is no try." When you say, "I'm going to try to go to the gym," you are writing this code if it's easy and I feel like it. Then go to the gym, else stay home. You are leaving a back door open for failure. You are telling your brain, "Don't spend much energy on this because it probably won't happen." And the brain obeys and doesn't give you energy. Binary code does not admit tries. It is 1, do it, or 0, don't do it. If you decide 1, you do it even if it rains, even if it hurts, even if the world falls apart. If you decide 0, you don't do it and you don't feel guilty. Both states are powerful. The intermediate state, "I should do it but I don't," is what drains your battery. Identity bits the I am syntax. Now that we understand that the universe needs zeros and ones, how do we write those bits? The programming language of reality has a main function, a function that defines global variables. That function is I am. Every time you say or think I am, you are defining the value of a variable in the system. If you say I am bad at math, the system registers VAR math ability, 0. From that moment, the system will block any attempt to understand numbers to maintain coherence with the code. If you say, "I am sickly," the system registers VAR health bar 0, and it will lower your immune defenses to fulfill the order. The problem is that most people use this function to describe the error history, past logs, not to program the future. You look at your past, see that you failed, and say, "I am a failure." You are using old code to write the new program. It is a recursive loop of fatality. The hacker uses I am to overwrite variables. It doesn't matter that your account is at 0. If you want to change reality, you have to enter the code. VAR financial identity, Trojan 1, wealth. You have to start saying, and more importantly, vibrating, "I am wealth." But that's a lie, your logical firewall screams. Look at your account, there is no money. Here is where binary faith comes in. In programming, you declare the variable before the program uses it. You write in score, 1,000, at the beginning of the code, even though the player hasn't started playing yet. You are reserving the memory space. When you say, "I am rich" before you have money, you are reserving the memory space in reality. You are forcing the universe's compiler to find the resources to fill that variable. But be careful with the syntax. If you say, "I want to be rich," the code is VAR state, wanting, lack. The universe says, "Granted, you will continue wanting," and it keeps you in lack. Wanting implies that you do not have, it is a 0. Being implies that you already have it, it is a 1. The correct syntax is never, "I want X." The correct syntax is, "I have X," or "I am X," even if it is not visible yet. Remember the lag, compilation delay. The binary diet, practical exercise. To train your brain in binary thinking, you're going to subject yourself to a strict diet of ambiguity. For the next 3 days, eliminate the following forbidden words from your vocabulary. They generate syntax errors. "I don't know." Maybe. Perhaps. "We'll see." "I will try." "I guess." When someone asks you, "Do you feel like going to the movies?" don't say, "Well, I don't know, we'll see." Choose. It is either a resounding yes, 1, or it is a resounding no, 0. If it is not a resounding yes, it is a no. At first, it will scare you. You will feel that you are abrupt, but you will notice something incredible. Your energy skyrockets. Indecision consumes a brutal amount of RAM. Having tabs open in your brain asking, "What should I do?" overheats the processor. By deciding, closing the tab with a yes or a no, you free up memory. You become magnetic. People respect those who have clear code. The universe respects those who have clear code. Compiling the program. Waiting time is not inaction. You have written the code. You have declared "I am rich." You have eliminated doubt. You are in state 1. You press compile, launch the desire. And the screen stays black for a moment. Reality does not change instantly. Your account is still at 0. The user panics, it's not working, it's a scam. And they quickly change their state to 0, doubt. They abort the compilation. The hacker knows that compilation time exists. When you write a complex program, the computer takes some time to translate your human code into zeros and ones and build the executable. During that time, it seems like nothing is happening. The hard drive spins. The progress bar advances. That is the lag. In real life, the lag is the time it takes for matter, which is dense and slow, to reorder itself to match your new frequency, which is fast. If you change your state to 1, certainty, and after 2 days you don't see results and you change to 0, doubt, and the next day you go back to 1, you are creating a stroboscopic effect. 1, 0, 1, 0. What does the universe receive? Turn on, 1, turn off, turn on, 1, turn off. And what does the light bulb do? It burns out, or it never turns on. The secret of binary code is persistence of state. You have to keep the 1 on in the console while the screen is black. You have to maintain the certainty of I am rich while you see unpaid bills. That is not madness, it is server stability. The universe only materializes programs that have demonstrated stability during compilation time. The commit protocol saving changes. In software development, Git, when you make a change to the code, you have to do a commit to save it to the central repository. Your daily commit is your coherent action. If you say, I am an athlete, code 1, but you stay on the couch, action 0, there is a version conflict. The code says one thing, the behavior says another. The system always gives priority to behavior, because behavior is code compiled into matter. For the change to be saved, your action also has to be binary. If you are an athlete, you train. Period. 1. If you don't train, you are not an athlete. 0. There is no trying to train. If you align your declaration, I am rich, with your action, manage the money you have well, train, sell, you are sending clean code, without syntax errors, without conflicts. And that code always executes. It is law. It is not luck. It is cosmic computing. Conclusion of the chapter. You have learned the machine language. You know that try is a virus. You know that doubt is noise. You know that I am is the variable declaration. And you know that you have to keep the 1 on during compilation time. Now that you know how to write simple lines of code, I am X, it is time to write complex functions. It is time to chain commands to create automatic success loops. But there is a problem. Your mind has old infinite loops installed that consume all your resources. The loop of I feel lonely, I seek desperate love, I get rejected, I feel lonelier. The loop of I don't have money, I get stressed, I don't think clearly, I make bad decisions, I have less money. To install the new program, we first have to break the old loop. And to break a while loop, you need to introduce an illogical interruption variable. You need to do something that the old code doesn't expect. In the next chapter, we will talk about infinite loops, breaking the loop. I will teach you how to introduce voluntary logic errors, doing controlled crazy things, to crash the karma program and free up the necessary RAM for your new life. Get ready to be unpredictable. Chapter 5, Infinite Loops, Breaking the Loop. The recursion of karma. Why you repeat the same level over and over? You have learned to use binary code. You have polarized your mind towards yes or no. You have declared your identity with the I am command. You are ready to move forward. But curiously, you realize that you are not moving in a straight line. You realize that you are walking in circles. You look at your life and see unsettlingly identical patterns repeating every so often. You manage to save money, and just when you reach a specific figure, the car breaks down or a fine arrives and you are back to 0, financial loop. You start a relationship with a different person who seems wonderful, but after 6 months you find yourself having exactly the same argument you had with your ex, relational loop. You promise yourself that this time you will be disciplined, you start strong, and by the 3rd week an emotional crisis sends you back to the couch, habit loop. The inexperienced user calls this bad luck, fate, or if they are spiritual, karma. The hacker calls it by its technical name, infinite loop. In programming, a loop is a structure designed to repeat a task as long as a condition is met. The code looks like this. While condition brought to true, do execute action. As long as the condition is true, the action repeats eternally. If the programmer forgets to include an exit command, the computer hangs. The processor runs at 100%, the fan roars, the screen freezes. The machine is working very hard, but it is not advancing at all. Your life is hung up. You are spending a brutal amount of energy, RAM and CPU, to keep your traumas and limitations alive. It is not that you are not trying, it is that you are trying inside the loop, and running inside a hamster wheel, no matter how fast you run, never takes you to new places. The fundamental problem with vital loops is that they are logical. This is what no one tells you. Your suffering makes logical sense to your operating system. The loop is maintained because the internal logic of your code dictates that you must react this way. Let's analyze the loneliness loop. Input: you feel lonely, pain. System: logic: to avoid pain, I need urgent love. Action: output: you seek a partner from desperation and need. Result: you attract someone who smells your need and rejects or uses you. Feedback: the rejection confirms that you are worthless. Return: you feel lonelier. Return to step 1. From the outside, it looks like a tragedy. From inside the code, it is a perfect execution of instructions. If loneliness, then search desperately. As long as the instruction remains that, the result will always be the same. As Einstein, the first great reality hacker, said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Most people try to break the loop by doing more of the same but stronger. They seek a partner harder. They work more hours to get out of poverty without changing the scarcity mindset. They shout louder to be heard. This only speeds up the wheel. The loop spins faster, you get exhausted sooner, and the result is identical. To exit an infinite loop, you don't need strength. You need syntax. You need to introduce a variable that the loop cannot process. You need to introduce a voluntary logic error. The system expects you to react with fear, anger, or need, because that is logical according to your old programming. If you react with the opposite or with something absurd, the code fails. An uncontrolled exception occurs. The loop breaks, and in that sudden silence, when the wheel stops spinning, is where you regain your freedom. In this first part, I want you to identify your master loop. We all have one. It is that issue where you always stumble over the same stone. Is it money? Is it abandonment? Is it anger? Observe it. Do not judge it. Look at it as a fascinating piece of code that has been executing without failure for 20 years. Tell yourself, wow, what a robust algorithm I have created to keep myself unhappy. Recognizing the loop is the first step to injecting the virus of freedom into it. The break command: inverse logic and controlled chaos. You have located the loop. Now how do we stop it? In programming, to exit a while loop, we use the break command. It is an order that says, no matter what is happening, exit the structure right now. In your life, the break command is the counterintuitive action. Your current operating system is designed to predict the future based on the past. If they yell at me, I yell. Defense logic. If I have little money, I hold on and don't spend. Scarcity logic. If someone moves away, I chase them. Attachment logic. These reactions are the bars of your cage. They are predictable. They are algorithmic. To hack the system, you have to become unpredictable. You have to do something your old self would never do. You have to act against your programmed survival instinct. Here are 3 advanced loop-breaking protocols, break protocols, for the 3 most common areas of blockage. Protocol 1, the inverse generosity algorithm, breaking the scarcity loop. The loop. You are afraid of running out of money. You hold on, you don't invest, you haggle, you suffer when paying. You emit a signal of, there is none. The universe returns scarcity to you. The old logic, saving every penny will save me. False, it keeps you in the poverty frequency. The break command. When you feel the fear of spending most acutely, perform an act of irresponsible generosity. Yes, you read that right. If you are worried because you have €50 left in your account, take €5 and give them to a street musician, or treat a friend to coffee, or buy yourself something small but high quality that makes you feel rich. Why does this work? It is a shock to the system. Your poverty code says if money. The physical action of releasing money with joy reprograms the variable VAR state, junk abundance. The system is forced to recalibrate. Wait, if this user is giving away resources, they must have an unlimited source. Let's assign them more resources to maintain coherence. It is counterintuitive, but wealth begins by giving, not accumulating. Protocol 2. Asymmetric silence, breaking the conflict loop. The loop. Your partner, boss, parent criticizes or provokes you. You feel injustice. You defend yourself, attack. Escalation of violence, distance. The old logic, I have to defend myself to be respected. The break command. When the usual verbal attack is launched at you, do the opposite of defending yourself. Accept and be silent with love, or use the fogging technique. Attacker, you are a disaster, you are always late. You, old code, you are late too and I work hard. Loop activated. You, hacker, you look them in the eye, breathe, smile and say, that is possible, and you remain silent. Why does this work? The attacker expects resistance. Their loop needs your anger to feed, friction. By agreeing, it is possible, and not giving them emotional energy back, you take the ground out from under them. They have nothing to push against. An execution error occurs in their system. They become confused. And in your system, by not defending yourself, you demonstrate overwhelming security. Only the one who feels attacked defends themselves. The one who feels invulnerable does not need a shield. You have broken the pattern of war. You have freed up the RAM you used for fighting, and now you can use it for creating. Protocol 3. Attention withdrawal, breaking the attachment loop. The loop. Someone ignores you or moves away. You feel panic. You send messages, call, chase. The other person gets overwhelmed and moves further away. The old logic. If I show them how much I love them, they will come back. The break command. The presence fast. The moment you feel the strongest urge to call, turn off your phone. Go do something you are passionate about, alone. Withdraw your energy from that person 100%, not just the action but the thought. Become an energetic ghost. Why does this work? Quantum physics says that every system seeks equilibrium. If you lean too much towards someone, chasing, that person energetically has to lean backward, flee, to maintain the center of gravity. If you take a step back, withdraw to your center, you create a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. That person will feel almost telepathically that you have stopped pulling the rope. They will feel the space, and their own inertia will make them lean toward you to fill the gap. By breaking your needy pattern, you become magnetic. George Costanza's rule. If you are a fan of the series Seinfeld, you will remember an episode where George, the eternal loser, decides that since all his logical decisions have led to failure, he will do the exact opposite of what his instinct tells him. If he wants to order a salad, he orders the steak. If he wants to be kind, he is rude. And what happens? He starts succeeding. This is inverse loop engineering. If your instinct, your corrupt code, has led you to where you are, your instinct is the problem. Your common sense is infected. For a week, play at being George Costanza. When your mind screams, "Don't go to that party, what a hassle," interpret that signal as an inverse order. The system wants me to stay home to keep me depressed. Therefore, going to the party is the solution. I'm going. Use resistance as a compass. If the loop pushes you left, turn right violently. The vertigo of freedom. I warn you, when you break a loop, you will feel vertigo. Your brain will panic. What are you doing? This is not normal. It is dangerous. You will feel a strange anxiety, different from the usual. It is the anxiety of novelty. It is the operating system rebooting in safe mode to install the updates. Do not flee from that vertigo. That vertigo is the feeling of the chains falling off. It is the free space on the hard drive that you just recovered. Now you have space. You have diagnosed the error. You have deleted the malware. You have learned binary. You have broken the repetitive loops. You have clear RAM and a cool processor. You are ready for the major update. It's not just about fixing what was wrong. It is about installing a completely new operating system. It is about rewriting your identity from the root. But for the new system to be saved and not deleted when you turn off the computer, we need to understand how data is recorded in the biological tissue of the brain. We need to understand neuroplasticity. Thinking the new code once is not enough. You have to burn it into the neurons. Chapter 6. Overwriting the Disk, Neuroplasticity. When you read this book, or when you have an aha moment in a motivational talk, you are loading that information into your RAM. You feel powerful because the file is open and accessible. But RAM memory has a design flaw. It is erased when the power is cut. It is erased when you go to sleep, or when you have a fright, or when you get distracted. Real reprogramming does not occur in the RAM. It occurs on the hard drive, or in the SSD of your subconscious. The hard drive is physical. It is magnetic. It is structural. What is written there stays there even if you turn off the computer. The problem is that most people live their attempts at change exclusively in the RAM. They tell themselves, I know I have to be positive. They understand it intellectually. But the next morning, system reboot, the Be Positive file has disappeared from the RAM. And the operating system, upon booting up, automatically loads the files that are recorded on the hard drive. And what is on your hard drive? The old programs, fear, scarcity, insecurity, because those files have been physically recorded on the structure of the disk for 20 years. This is where the science of neuroplasticity comes in. For centuries, it was thought that the adult brain was fixed hardware. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Today we know that is false. Your brain is plastic. It is malleable. Your brain is not static hardware. It is dynamic hardware. It is capable of reconfiguring its own physical circuits based on the instructions of the software, your mind. And this is a big but. The brain is a very conservative system administrator. It is lazy. To record a new file on the biological hard drive, clicking Save is not enough. The brain demands proof of importance. It demands an energetic investment. If you only think something once, I am rich. It is a weak electrical signal. It passes through the neuron and dissipates. It leaves no trace. For that signal to become matter, a new solid synaptic connection, you have to bombard the circuit repeatedly until the brain says, wow, the user is sending this signal 1,000 times per hour. It must be a critical function. Let's allocate material resources to build a data highway here. Hebb's law, wiring in real time. In 1949, neuropsychologist Donald Hebb formulated the fundamental law of neurological programming. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Imagine your brain as a virgin jungle. Every thought is an explorer trying to cross the jungle. If you have a new thought, I am worthy, it is like an explorer hacking their way through dense undergrowth. It is slow. It is difficult. It is very tiring. If you don't go back through there, the jungle grows back in 24 hours and the path disappears, forgetfulness. But if you force the explorer to pass through the same place 100 times a day, the undergrowth is flattened. A dirt path is created. If you pass 1,000 times, the brain paves the path. If you pass 10,000 times, the brain builds a high-speed fiber optic highway. Your old habits, smoking, complaining, feeling like a victim, are 8-lane highways. The electrical signal travels along there at 300 km/h without resistance. That's why it's so easy to be negative. It is the path of least resistance. It is the default configuration. Your new thought, I am success, is a path full of mud. Electricity, which is lazy, always prefers the highway. Overwriting the disk means letting the old highways die and paving the new ones. It is a physical process of infrastructure construction. It requires materials, proteins, it requires energy, glucose, and it requires time. You cannot build a highway in one afternoon. That's why the miracle changes of a weekend do not work. You can have a vision in a weekend, but the construction happens on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. In this first part, I want you to stop blaming yourself for not having willpower. It is not a moral failure. It is that you are trying to run a Formula One car, your new life, on a goat path, your old neural network. The car breaks down. You have to build the track first, and to build the track you need two heavy engineering tools, the drill of repetition and the chemical glue of emotion. The recording protocol Myelin, repetition and emotion. We already know that we need to convert software, thought, into hardware, neural connections. How is that save changes command executed definitively? The brain uses a substance called myelin. Myelin is a layer of white fat that wraps around the axons of neurons, just like plastic insulates a copper wire. A cable without myelin conducts the signal slowly and with leaks. A myelinated cable, white matter, conducts the signal at a dizzying speed and without data loss. The difference between an amateur and a master in piano, tennis, or mindset is the amount of myelin in their specific circuits. Your goal as a hacker is to myelinate your new identity. You want the thought "I am capable of anything" to travel so fast that it is automatic. To produce myelin, you need to execute the three-step recording protocol. Step 1. The sampling frequency, spaced repetition. The brain ignores what is sporadic. The brain records what is frequent. If you go to the gym once a month for 5 hours, you don't get strong, you get injured. If you go 20 minutes every day, you transform. It is the same with the mind. A 1-hour visualization on Sunday and then forgetting about it for the rest of the week is useless. You need constant micro-injections of code. Technique: the notification bombardment. Set alarms on your phone every 2 hours. When the alarm sounds, do not just turn it off. Stop for 30 seconds and execute the new code. I am your new identity. Visualize it, feel it, and continue with your day. You are sending electrical pulses along the new path many times a day. You are preventing the undergrowth from growing. You are ordering the biological construction team to pour asphalt on that route. Step 2. The chemical catalyst, elevated emotion. This is where most people fail with positive affirmations, repeating like a parrot, "I am rich, with a bored look, does not record anything. The brain does not record data. It records data marked with emotion. Emotion is the chemical glue. Biologically, emotion is a discharge of neuropeptides and hormones that tells the neuron nucleus, "This is important, archive it now." You remember where you were on September 11th. You don't remember what you ate 3 Tuesdays ago. Why? Because 9/11 had a massive emotional load, fear, shock. That recorded the file on the hard drive instantly, long-term potentiation. What you ate on Tuesday was emotionally neutral, so the brain deleted it to save space. If you want to record your new success program, you cannot do it from apathy. You have to hack your chemistry. Before visualizing or affirming, you have to elevate your state. Jump, dance, breathe hard. Generate an artificial sensation of gratitude or euphoria. And when you are at the peak of that emotion, click. Insert the thought, "Thank you because I am rich." You are associating the new code with a discharge of dopamine and oxytocin. The brain says, "Wow, every time we think about wealth, we feel incredible. Let's myelinate this circuit urgently so we can access it faster." You are becoming addicted to your new future. Step 3. Synaptic pruning, file deletion. To write the new, sometimes you need space. The brain has a cleaning mechanism called synaptic pruning. During sleep, microglia cells eat up the connections that are not used. It is the empty recycle bin command. If you stop using an old road, the brain dismantles the asphalt to use the materials on the new road. This means that, to reprogram your mind, you have to apply the attention diet. Every time you catch yourself thinking the old code, "I can't, how hard, poor me," you have to cut the signal. Do not fight the thought, simply let it starve. Withdraw attention, change the channel. If you stop traveling the highway of victimhood for 30 days, the undergrowth will start to grow on it. The signal will become weak. A day will come when trying to think negatively will cost you effort. It will feel strange. You will have inverted the polarity of your brain. The difficult thing will be to be negative. The automatic thing will be to be positive. The valley of death, the latency period. I warn you what will happen while you execute this protocol. You are going to enter the valley of death. It is that period of time, usually between week 2 and week 6, where you have stopped being the old you, but you are not yet the new you. You have dismantled the old road, but the new one is not yet paved. You will feel silly. You will feel like a fraud. You will look in the mirror saying, "I am rich," and feel ridiculous. You will not see external results. Your 3D reality will remain the same. The user says, "This is not working. I quit." The hacker says, "I am in compilation phase. The hardware is restructuring. I continue coding." You have to have faith in biology. If you go to the gym, you don't see the muscle grow in real time, but you know that if you lift the weight, the fiber breaks and repairs. It is inevitable. If you repeat the new thought with emotion, the neuron wires up. It is inevitable. It is not magic, it is histology. The inflection point, critical mass. If you persist, you will reach the inflection point. It is the moment when the amount of myelin in the new circuit surpasses that of the old one. Suddenly, the miracle happens. You wake up in the morning, and your first thought, without effort, is of gratitude and power. A problem occurs, and your automatic reaction is not fear, but curiosity. You no longer have to make the effort. Now you are the program. The software has become hardware. The program runs in the background process without consuming conscious resources. You have installed the autopilot of success. Conclusion of the chapter. You have learned that change is not an event. It is a physical construction. You have learned that boring repetition is the drill, and intense emotion is the cement. You have learned to let the old connections die from lack of use. Now you are in the installation process. The loading bar is at 40%, 50%, but beware. When you install a new operating system, the first thing you do is test it. You launch it, and it is almost certain that on the first execution, the program will fail. Unexpected errors will emerge. You will have a bad day. You will shout. You will fall into old habits. The perfectionist will interpret that failure as, "I have failed, I am useless." The hacker will interpret it as debugging. Chapter 7. Debugging Error Correction. They tell themselves, "I tried and I failed. I'm back to square one. This reprogramming thing doesn't work for me." And they uninstall all progress, returning to the old, miserable but stable version. The hacker, however, interprets this event in a radically different way. For a programmer, code failure on the first execution is not a failure. It is a statistical certainty. No complex software in the history of humanity has been launched in its version 1.0 without errors, bugs. When Microsoft launches Windows or Apple launches iOS, they know the code has holes. They don't wait for it to be perfect. They launch it, wait for users to report the failures, it hangs when I open the camera, and launch version 1.1. You are in beta phase. Your new identity is a prototype. When you relapse, when you explode, when fear paralyzes you again, you have not failed. You have simply found an edge case. You have found a specific situation, Tuesday, plus tiredness, plus boss yelling, that your new code did not yet know how to handle. The old code, anger.exe, was still resident in memory and faced with the vacuum of the new code, executed by default. In this first part, I need you to eliminate the drama of your relapse. Drama is a virus that consumes resources. If a SpaceX engineer sees their rocket explode on the platform, they don't throw themselves on the ground screaming, "I am a bad engineer." They look at the telemetry, they look at the data. The pressure valve failed at 300 degrees. It is cold data, valuable data. Your relapse is your crash report, error report. It is the system telling you, "Attention, administrator. The new inner peace program works well under normal conditions, but it has a stability flaw when the blood sugar level drops below 20% and there is ambient noise." That is pure gold. You have just discovered a vulnerability in your code that you didn't know existed. If you hadn't failed, you wouldn't know that you have to patch that vulnerability. Failure is the only way to robustify the system. Success validates you, but failure educates you. The linearity fallacy. The problem is that you expect your progress to be an ascending straight line. The reality of algorithmic learning is a jagged line, with peaks and valleys, but with an upward trend. One day you comply 100%, the next day 40%, the next 80%. The user cries about the 40% day. The hacker calculates the average. This week I averaged 73%. Last week I was at 0%. The system is improving. You have to stop judging yourself by your worst day. Your worst day is simply the day the system was subjected to a stress test that exceeded its current capacity. Now you know what your load limit is. If you know that yelling plus hunger makes you reboot, you already have the map to write the security patch. The concept of technical debt. In programming, sometimes we write quick and dirty code to get by. That generates technical debt. We know we will have to fix it later. In your life, your old defense mechanisms, eating out of anxiety, fleeing conflict, are accumulated technical debt. When you try to change, that debt demands payment. The relapse is often the system collecting the old technical debt. It is the brain saying, "Hey, we've been solving stress with chocolate for 20 years. Are you sure you want to delete that function? Look how well chocolate works. Instant dopamine." Your brain is selling you the old solution because it is efficient in the short term. Your job during the crash is not to feel guilty. Your job is to observe the mechanics of the failure. Look how interesting. My brain is asking for sugar because it feels threatened. It's not me. It's the old survival algorithm. If you manage to dissociate yourself from the failure, if you manage to see it as a software bug and not as a flaw in your soul, you will have won the game. Because then you can take out the debugging tools and fix it. If you identify with the failure, I am a disaster, you block access to the code and remain trapped in the error. Recovery protocols, exception handling and patches. We now have the error report. We know what happened. The system crashed. Now how do we fix it? How do we ensure that version 2.0 is more stable than 1.0? In programming, this is called exception handling. It is writing code that tells the program what to do when things go wrong, so that it doesn't close unexpectedly. We are going to install 3 security patches to handle your future errors. Patch 1. The try-catch statement. The safety net. Most people program their lives for the happy path. They assume everything will go well. I will wake up, meditate, go to work happy, and eat salad. That code is fragile. At the slightest interruption, rain, traffic, bad mood, the program breaks because it has no instructions for the error. The hacker programs for the error. They use the logical structure: try, plan A, perfect life, catch, error, horrible day. You have to design your emergency protocol before the disaster occurs. When you are in the middle of an anxiety or anger crisis, your prefrontal cortex, intelligence, shuts down. You cannot think. You are a scared animal. You need a pre-programmed script that executes automatically. Example of emergency protocol. Oh, error detected. Uncontrollable urge to smoke, eat, yell. Oh, execute rescue script. Physically move away from the situation 2 meters. Box breathing. 4 seconds inhale, 4 hold, 4 exhale, 4 hold for 1 minute. Drink a large glass of water. Physiological change. Ask, what do I really need, hunger or peace? Write this down on a note on your phone. When the crash comes, don't think. Read the note and obey. You are externalizing your intelligence to a digital medium for when your biological brain fails. That is exception handling. Patch 2. The post-mortem analysis, the bug autopsy. In Silicon Valley, when a server goes down and Facebook stops working worldwide, engineers don't go home crying. They do a post-mortem. It is a blameless post-mortem meeting where they analyze what happened so it doesn't happen again. After each relapse, when the shame wears off, you have to do your autopsy. Take your code journal. Analyze the chain of events that led to the blue screen. It is rarely a single thing. It is usually a failure cascade. Error trace. So I didn't sleep well last night, weakened hardware. Oh, I didn't prepare healthy food, logistical failure. Oh, I came home with low blood sugar, system alert. Oh, my partner made a critical comment, emotional trigger. Oh, crash. I ordered pizza and got angry. By seeing the trace, you realize that the problem was not the pizza or your partner. The problem started in step 1 and 2. The corrupt code was ignore sleep and logistics. The patch. For version 2.0, I must prioritize sleep and have meal prep ready. If I do that, my partner's comment in step 4 will not cause the failure because my system will have the resources to manage it. Boom! You have just updated your software. Now you are more robust. You have learned that your vulnerability is not lack of willpower, but lack of sleep. That is actionable technical data. Patch 3. The anti-fragile mindset, recompiling. Nassim Taleb coined the term anti-fragile to describe systems that benefit from chaos. A robust system withstands the blow. An anti-fragile system improves with the blow. Your immune system is anti-fragile. When a virus attacks it, it learns and becomes immune to that virus forever. Your mind must be the same. Every error must be converted into a vaccine. If you failed today because of A, you install the patch for A. Now you are immune to A. Tomorrow you will fail because of B. You install the B patch. The day after, you will fail because of C. If you follow this process, a mathematical day will arrive when you run out of ways to fail. You will have patched all the vulnerabilities. Your code will be bulletproof. The average user gives up after the third failure. The hacker knows that success is simply the result of having corrected enough errors. Thomas Edison did not fail 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. He debugged the code 1,000 times. He found 1,000 ways the filament doesn't work, until only the way that does remained. The fast reboot, fast boot. The last metric you must optimize is the recovery time. In the past, when you had a crisis, it took you 3 weeks to recover. You spent 3 weeks in the loop of guilt and inaction. Your goal now is to reduce that time. From 3 weeks to 3 days. From 3 days to 3 hours. From 3 hours to 3 minutes. The master hacker is the one who yells, loses their temper, realizes it, breathes, apologizes, and returns to their center in 30 seconds. It is not that they don't have errors. It is that their reboot time is instantaneous. They do not let the error turn into a new user session. They treat it as a momentary glitch, clear the cache, and continue executing the main program. I am success. Do not seek perfection. Perfection is static and dead. Seek quick correction. Seek the speed of iteration. The more often you fail and correct yourself quickly, the faster your software will evolve. Fail fast. Fail cheap. Learn the data. Keep typing. Chapter 8. Bandwidth Energy Management. You have debugged your code. Your identity of I am success is clear. You have patched your emotional vulnerabilities. You sit down to work on your new life project, ready to conquer the world. But something frustrating happens. You feel exhausted. Your mind is slow. You struggle to concentrate for more than 10 minutes straight. You have mental fog. You try to visualize your future, and the image is blurry, pixelated. You try to make a quick decision, and you freeze. In computing, this is known as latency, lag. It is the equivalent of seeing the eternal loading circle spinning on the screen, or the max wheel of death. The inexperienced user thinks, I'm getting old, or I need more coffee. The hacker opens the task manager and checks the CPU consumption. And the diagnosis is clear. Your RAM memory is saturated at 99%. You cannot run high-performance software like Create an Empire or Heal My Body on a machine that has 90% of its resources hijacked by junk background processes. Imagine trying to play the most powerful video game on the market, but at the same time you have 50 Chrome tabs open, a video editing program rendering, 3 active downloads, and the antivirus scanning. The game will skip. It will freeze. Not because the game is bad, but because there is no bandwidth available to process it. Your brain consumes 20% of your total metabolic energy, even though it only weighs 2% of your body. It is a voracious machine. But your conscious attention, your RAM is limited. Very limited. You can only process a few bits of information per second. The problem is that you have memory leaks. You have open tabs in your brain that consume resources without you realizing it. Resentment processes. A part of your RAM is permanently dedicated to keeping alive the argument you had with your ex 3 years ago. That file is running in a loop. While they exist. Do. Hate. That consumes 15% of your daily energy. Passive worry processes. Another part of your RAM is constantly scanning political or economic news that you have no control over. Scanning threat. Another 20% of energy wasted processing useless data. Validation processes. Another part is constantly monitoring what others think of you. Check social status. Another 25%. Open loops. Zeigarnik effect. You have 50 small unfinished tasks. Call the dentist, sew the button, answer the email. The brain keeps those files open just in case. Another 15%. Do the math. You are left with 25% of your mental capacity available to build your new life. With 25% power, you are not a creator. You are a zombie. You go through life in energy-saving mode, reacting out of inertia, incapable of having brilliant or creative thoughts. Creativity and manifestation require a voltage peak. They require what is called critical mass in physics. You need to concentrate all your energy on a single point to break the resistance of reality and create something new. If your energy is scattered among 50 junk processes, you never reach critical mass. You are a 5-watt light bulb trying to illuminate a stadium. In this first part, I want you to understand that focus is not staring at something. Focus is ignoring everything else. You don't need more energy. You already have a nuclear power plant inside. You need to close the faucets where that energy is escaping. You don't need vitamins. You need to press the End Task button on processes that don't add value to the main code. Your attention is the most valuable currency in the universe. It is the only thing you truly possess. Where you put your attention, you put your life. If you put your attention on gossip, complaint, or fear, you are investing your divine capital in junk stocks that will lead you to energetic bankruptcy. The hacker is stingy with their attention. They protect their bandwidth like a guard dog. The task manager, killing processes and freeing up RAM. We have diagnosed the system's slowness. Now we are going to optimize it. We are going to open the task manager of your life and be ruthless. In computing, there is a command called kill process. It does not pause it. It does not minimize it. It kills it. It removes it from active memory. Here are the 3 optimization protocols to reclaim 100% of your CPU. Protocol 1. Closing open loops. The Zeigarnik effect. Psychologist Bloomer Zeigarnik discovered that the human brain remembers incomplete tasks much better than completed ones. This means that every task you have to do and don't do remains resident in RAM, consuming clock cycles. I have to fix the faucet. I have to call mom. I have to buy milk. It is a constant background hum that exhausts you. The solution, the memory dump, RAM dump. Take paper and pen. Write down absolutely everything you have pending. From launch my company to buy batteries, empty your head. Once it is on the paper, your brain receives the signal. The data is saved externally. I can stop processing it in a loop. Now apply the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, sending a WhatsApp, paying a fine, do it now. Kill it. If it takes more, schedule it or delete it. By doing this, you will feel immediate physical relief. Your processor will stop humming. You have freed up 20% of RAM in one afternoon. Protocol 2. The input firewall. Information diet. Your brain does not distinguish between useful data and garbage. It processes everything that enters. If in the morning you read a news story about a horrible crime in another country, your brain allocates resources to process the fear, empathy, and threat simulation. You have spent premium fuel processing garbage. The hacker establishes an input firewall. Technique: selective airplane mode. Zero news. If it's important, you will find out. 99% of the news is noise designed to hijack your amygdala and sell you ads. Block them. Zero notifications. Your phone should never ring unless you want it to. Notifications are external interruptions that fragment your attention. Every time you look at a like, it takes you 23 minutes to regain a deep level of concentration, flow. Zero energy vampires. There are people who are malware with legs. They arrive, tell you their dramas, don't seek solutions, leave you exhausted, and then leave. Put up a firewall. I'm sorry, I don't have the bandwidth for this right now. By cutting off the incoming flow of junk data, your processor falls silent. That silence is where your genius lives. Protocol 3. The law of essentialism, eliminating the good. This is the most difficult step, and the one that separates God-level hackers from advanced users. It is easy to eliminate the bad, drugs, toxic relationships. The difficult thing is to eliminate the good to make space for the excellent. You have too many good tabs open. You want to learn to play the guitar? Good. You want to learn Italian? Good. You want to be an amateur chef? Good. And you want to start a millionaire company? Excellent. If you try to execute all 4 programs at once, the system drags. None reaches 100%. The hacker applies radical pruning. They look at their open tabs and say, "Learning Italian is a great process, but right now it consumes resources I need for my company." Right-click, End Task, and they close it. Without guilt. They know they can open it again in the future, but not now. The command is Focus 1. You can only have one main priority, priority high, on the processor. Everything else must be secondary or paused. Warren Buffett explains it with his 25-5 rule. Make a list of 25 things you want. Choose the top 5. The other 20 are not your things to do later list. They are your avoid at all costs list. They are the distractions that keep you from achieving the 5 important things. The state of flow, overclocking. When you clean the RAM, close loops, block the noise, and focus on a single task, something magical happens. You enter flow. Flow is the state of optimal performance where time disappears and execution is perfect. In computer terms, it is overclocking. The system runs above its nominal capacity without overheating because there is no friction. All the energy goes to the laser. In this state, you write the book in a week. You create the business in a month. You heal your body in days. Manifestation becomes instant because there is no latency between your intention and your attention. The price of speed. Optimizing your bandwidth has a social price. People will tell you that you are boring because you don't know the latest celebrity gossip. They will tell you that you are selfish because you don't reply to WhatsApp in 5 seconds. They will tell you that you are obsessive because you only talk about your mission. Smile. They are users with their computers full of viruses, toolbars, and pop-ups, wondering why their life is slow. You are a debugged quantum computing machine. Your speed scares them. The performance test benchmark. This week you are going to run a speed test. Choose one day, the total bandwidth day. The night before, write down the only 3 tasks for the day. Uninstall Instagram, TikTok from your phone for 24 hours. Do not read the news. Say no to any external request. Dedicate your energy exclusively to your source code, your goal. At the end of the day, you will be surprised. You will have done more in 8 hours than in the last 3 weeks. And the best part, you won't be tired. You will be energized. Because what is tiring is not work. What is tiring is context switching, jumping from one tab to another. Deep focused work recharges, fragmented work drains. Now your machine flies. You have the new code, you have the viruses out, you have free RAM. Your processing capacity is infinite. But there is one last security piece we must hack. Up until now, you have been operating as an advanced user, but there are certain system files, certain areas of reality that are protected. A message pops up. You need administrator permissions to modify external reality. Many stop here. They fix themselves internally, but they don't dare to change the world externally. They keep waiting for permission. They keep waiting for someone to validate them. You need to elevate your privileges. You need to log in to God mode. You need to assume total responsibility, not just for your mind, but for everything around you. Chapter 9. Administrator User God Mode. You have done all the internal work. Your mind is a Ferrari of quantum computing. You have clean RAM, clear binary code, and broken loops. You feel ready. You look at the world, external reality, and say, "Hello, universe, I'm ready now. I've cleaned my code. Please, can you send me success now? Do you give me permission to be rich? Do you validate my new software?" And the universe does not respond. It remains silent. You wait. Days pass, and you start to doubt. Did I do something wrong? Am I missing a step? Why is the authorization not arriving? The problem is not your code. The problem is your privilege level. In any operating system, there are different types of user accounts. Guest user can use installed programs but cannot change settings, install anything new, or access the system kernel. They are a passive user. Standard user can save files and customize their desktop, but if they try to delete something important, a window pops up. Access denied. Contact the administrator. Administrator, root and super user, has total access, can rewrite the operating system, can delete everything, can change the rules of the machine's physics. They do not ask for permission, they grant permissions. Most human beings live and die as guest users in their own life. They behave as if the universe were an external administrator, God, destiny, luck, government, market, whom they must please or beg to allow them to install a small update of happiness. They live asking for permission. Can I take a vacation? Is it safe to start a business now? Am I good enough for this partner? You are waiting for a validation that will never come because the system is designed to wait for your orders, not to give you its own. The universe is not your father. The universe is not your boss. The universe is the server, and you are the sysadmin, system administrator. The server has no opinion. The server does not judge whether your code is moral or immoral, whether you are worthy or unworthy. The server simply executes what the administrator commands. If the administrator doubts, the server waits in standby. Entering God mode is not an act of arrogance. It is an act of technical responsibility. It means accepting that there is no one at the wheel but you. If you do not write the command, "Let wealth be done," wealth will not be done. No one is going to come and give it to you because you have been good. The universe does not reward good children. The universe obeys clear administrators. The fear of being the administrator is the fear of blame. As a guest user, if life goes wrong, you can blame the system. The computer is slow. The government is bad. My boss is stupid. It's comfortable. You are an innocent victim. As the administrator, if the system fails, it is your fault. If your life is a disaster, it is because you have configured the server incorrectly. That total responsibility terrifies the ego. The ego prefers to be a victim with justification than a god with responsibility. In this first part, I want you to give up your guest account. Stop looking for signs. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop seeking the approval of your parents or society. They are other users. They do not have your keys. You have to log in as root. You have to look reality in the eye and stop asking, "Can I?" to start saying, "Let it be done." When you change your user level, reality changes its behavior. The barriers that seemed solid, there is no money, there is no time, suddenly become permeable because you now have the permissions to edit those variables. What is a wall for the guest is an editable line of code for the administrator. The command console executing will without friction. How does an administrator operate? How does their behavior differ from that of a normal user? The administrator does not use the slow, pretty graphical interface. The administrator uses the terminal, command console. The administrator does not try. The administrator executes. Here are the 3 protocols of action for God mode. Protocol 1. The executive order, command syntax. The guest user uses a language of supplication. I hope it goes well. I hope I don't fail. The administrator uses a language of decree. In the Bible, which is a very powerful ancient code manual, when God creates the world, he doesn't say, "It would be great if there was light." He says, "Let there be light. Let there be light." And light was made. That is the root syntax. It is impersonal. It is direct. There is no doubt. You have to start using that syntax with yourself and your environment. Don't say, "I'm going to see if I can lose weight." Say, "Health is decreed. The transformation process has begun." Don't say, "I hope I get the job," and say, "That position is mine. I am aligning reality to occupy it." It is not magic. It is vibrational authority. When you speak with authority, your reticular system, RAS, and the quantum field receive a priority order. The noise moves aside to let the signal pass. People perceive your administrator rank. When you walk into a room and don't apologize for existing, people step aside and respect you. They treat you like a leader because you emit the frequency of someone who holds the keys. Protocol 2. Dependency elimination, non-need. An administrator never needs anything from the system because they are the system. The guest user operates from needing. I need to be loved to feel good. I need to be paid to feel secure. Need is a code error that says, my internal state depends on an external variable. This gives the power of the administrator to the outside world. It degrades you to guest. God mode operates from preference. I prefer to be rich, but if I'm not today, I am still God. My internal state is immutable. This is the paradox of power. The universe only gives you what you do not desperately need. If you need it, you emit scarcity, 0. If you prefer it but are complete without it, you emit abundance, 1. The administrator plays with reality. They do not fight with it. If a project fails, the administrator does not cry. They say, "Command failed, reconfiguring parameters, retry." There is no drama. There is only management. Protocol 3. Right access to reality, massive action. The power of root is useless if you don't type. Many spiritual people believe that being God is sitting and meditating and waiting. False. God is a verb. God is pure action. The administrator is the one who works the most, but is the one who struggles the least. How is that possible? Because there is no internal friction. When a user acts, they have the handbrake on, fear, doubt. They spend a lot of energy to move little. When the administrator acts, they have all channels open. They act with massive and serene action. If you decide to launch a business, you do it with everything. You call 100 clients. You create the website in one night. You do not doubt. You do not ask, "What if I bother people?" Guest question. You assume your product is a gift to the system. You move with the certainty of a tank. Physical reality is dense, but it is malleable before a will that does not bend. People follow those who know where they are going. Money follows certainty. The administrator creates their own economy, their own tribe, their own rules. The pseudo of the universe. In Linux systems, when you want to force the computer to do something for which it would normally ask for permission, you type sudo before the command, superuser do. Your pseudo is your certainty. When reality tells you it can't be done, it's impossible, no one has done it, you write sudo, absolute certainty, and execute again. And reality opens up. You discover that the limits were just user permissions configured by default for normal people. For the root, the limits are suggestions, the loneliness of command. I warn you, being an administrator is lonely at first. You can no longer complain with your guest user friends. They will continue talking about the crisis and bad luck. You will know those are excuses from someone who doesn't have the keys. You will feel disconnected from the conversations of victims. It is the price of power. But soon you will find other administrators, other hackers who have woken up. And with them you won't talk about problems. You will talk about projects. You will talk about systems architecture. You will create a new network. You have regained total control. You have a clean, optimized system, and you have the master keys. You are no longer a victim of the simulation. You are the programmer. Your life is yours. But one last question remains. A perfect, isolated system is useless. A computer disconnected from the internet is not very useful. You are a powerful machine, but you are a single machine. For your new software to have impact, for your success to multiply and become legendary, you need to connect to the global network. You need to understand that you are not alone on the server. There are 8 billion more terminals, and there is a master code that connects everyone. Chapter 10. The Network, Connection to the Cloud. This is where most self-made men hit the ceiling. They believe they have to do everything alone with their own processing power. They burn out. The master hacker knows they don't need to know everything. They just need to have internet connection. They just need access to the cloud. In digital metaphysics, the cloud is the zero-point field, or collective unconscious. It is the central server where all the information of the universe is stored, all ideas, all songs not yet written, all solutions to impossible problems, and most importantly, the real-time location of all the resources and people you need. When you connect to the cloud, phenomena occur that normal people call miracles or coincidences, but that you will call by their technical name, synchronicity. Synchronicity is not magic. It is optimized data routing. Imagine you need 10,000 euros for your project. Local mode, user disconnected. You work overtime, save, take out a loan. It is slow, it is linear. Cloud mode, user connected. You launch the request to the server, request. The server, which has an eagle's eye view of the entire system, locates a person across the city who needs exactly what you offer and has the money ready. The server calculates the fastest route for you to cross paths. You feel an impulse and a push notification to go to a specific coffee shop. You go, you sit down, the person sits next to you, you talk, you close the deal. Luck? No. Matching algorithm. To operate in the cloud, you have to install the intuition driver. Intuition is not an emotional hunch. It is a high-speed data download. It is a compressed file, .zip, that the server sends directly to your brain. It arrives complete in a millisecond. Suddenly you know something, but you don't know how you know it. You haven't done the logical reasoning, step 1, step 2, step 3. You have received the final result directly. The problem is that your Wi-Fi is turned off. Or worse, you have so much noise in your system, doubts, fears, open tabs, that the server signal doesn't get through. You have interference. To receive the download, you need clean bandwidth. The ping protocol, connection test. How do you know if you are connected? You run a ping. In networks, a ping is a short signal you send to a server to see if it responds and how long it takes. Latency. You can ping the universe. Exercise. Sit in silence, close your eyes. Launch a question into the air to the server. Give me a sign that I'm on the right track. Show me a specific object, e.g. a red balloon, in the next 24 hours. Let go of the request. Do not look for it. Continue with your life. Observe. When you see the red balloon in the most unexpected place, on a truck sticker, on a child's t-shirt, you will feel an electric chill. That chill is the connection confirmation. Connection established. The server has answered, I hear you, I am here, the network is operational. The more pings you run and verify, the more you trust the network, and the more you trust, the more bandwidth the system allocates to you. You stop living alone and start living in co-creation. Seeders versus leechers, the universal BitTorrent economy. Now that you are connected to the cloud, you have access to infinite resources. You can download whatever you want. Millionaire ideas, health, love. But beware. The universal network operates with a P2P, peer-to-peer protocol, very similar to BitTorrent. In BitTorrent, there are two types of users. Leechers, suckers. Users who only download files but do not share anything. They take and leave. The system detects their selfishness and strangles their bandwidth. Their download speed drops to 0. Seeders, sowers. Users who download the file and leave it available for others to download from them. They share, they upload data. The system rewards seeders by giving them maximum priority speed. This is the final and most important lesson of the entire book. To hack reality and have everything, you have to be a seeder. The universe does not give you things for you to keep. The universe gives you energy, money, talent, love, so that it circulates through you to the rest of the network. You are not the final destination of wealth. You are a transmission node. If you try to hoard the energy, accumulate money out of fear, not share your knowledge, isolate yourself, you become a leecher. You create a bottleneck. The server detects that the energy is stagnant in your node and cuts the flow. You dry up. You become depressed. Success stops. The master hacker understands that the secret to infinite abundance is the upload. The more you give, the more space you create to receive. But you don't give out of charity or morality. You give out of flow engineering. You know that to maintain your download speed at 10 GBPs, receiving constant miracles, you have to maintain your upload speed at 10 GBPs, serving the world massively. How to become a super seeder, high-value node. Share the code open source. Don't keep your secrets. If you discover how to heal, teach it. If you discover how to earn money, teach it. Fear says, if I teach it, I will create competition. Scarcity, leecher mindset. The hacker says, if I teach it, I become the source. The universe will send me more new information because it knows I will distribute it. Be open source. Information wants to be free. Increase network vibration, hosting. Your mere presence can act as a server that improves the local network. When you walk into a room, do you raise the energy or suck it out? If you are the one who always complains, you are a virus that slows down the network. If you are the one who encourages, listens, and uplifts others, you are a high-capacity server. People will want to connect with you. Opportunities will come to you because you are a node that makes everything work better. The hacker's tithe, bandwidth reinvestment. Get used to giving back a percentage of your bandwidth to the system. If you earn money, donate or invest in others. If you gain time, use it to help. This keeps the ports open. It prevents the pipes from rusting. It is the preventive maintenance of the flow. Automatic updates, the state of flow. When you live as a seeder connected to the cloud, you stop having to struggle to update. You enter automatic updates mode. You no longer have to look for information. Information looks for you. The right book falls into your hands. The mentor appears. The idea arises in the shower. Your operating system is always kept at the latest version without you having to do anything manual. Living like this is living in permanent flow. There is no longer friction between you and life. You and the server are one. You request. The server sends. Response. You receive. Download. You share. Upload. It is a perfect cycle of data and energy. You are no longer an isolated user fighting against the system. You are the system. You have transcended the individuality of the PC to become part of the global artificial intelligence. And that, my friend, is the true God mode. It is not controlling others. It is not having power over the world. It is having power with the world. It is being the hand that writes the code, and at the same time being the code that is written. You have completed the training. You have gone from being a frustrated user facing a blue screen to being a reality architect connected to the source. You have the tools. You have the permissions. You have the connection. What are you going to program now? What are you going to contribute to the network? The cursor blinks, the console is clean, the command is yours. But before leaving you alone at the keyboard, I want to give you one last line of code. An Easter egg that I have hidden for the closing of this system, a warning and a blessing for your journey.